Aloha everyone, this is Doug Davis with Karan B Realty in Honolulu and broker in charge here, and welcome to another edition to Ask Doug. So today this is kind of an interesting topic in this seller's market. What are buyers doing to make their offer attractive? What do buyers do today in a multiple bid situation to get their offers through? How do they get their offer picked versus 5 other ones that are on the table? So I'm going to go down and itemize the things that I'm finding in the marketplace now, and then I'm going to circle back and talk about, from the seller's point of view, how they would evaluate that. So first part is going to be buyer point of view, how they're going to make their offer attractive, and then the seller point of view on how they interpret it, what would be good for them. So right now this is the furthest I've ever seen the pendulum swing for a seller's market. Our house inventory, single family home inventory, is down to just over a month of inventory. There's some 440 houses on all of Oahu at the moment that are for sale, and it's being replenished very slowly. Condos, they're maintaining the same number of sales and doing well, but the inventory is not squishing on that. People are relisting, perhaps as a response from our change in the Airbnb rental market for a lot of those condos. So people are selling them because they can't make the money that they used to be making. So here we go. The concessions that I'm seeing are really only for multiple offer situations. So people will just do the traditional offer and hope it goes through, or negotiate with the seller. But if it's a multiple bid situation, then you get to see a host of things. So what do you see? Well, number one, full price or better. And for the houses, interestingly, for the last 6 months, the prices for homes that sellers have been getting have been 100% or better on average. That's incredible. 6 months of getting what you're asking for or better. That's pretty nice for sellers in this kind of market. Number two, offering to pay 5, 10, 50,000 better than another offer. There'll be a clause in there that says that they will pay more than the highest offer, with proof of the other offer. Appraisal clause, number 3, that will say that they'll pay the difference if the appraisal comes in lower, that they'll pay more cash down to make up that difference. Some people, number 4, will pay all cash instead of getting a mortgage, and that sure makes it easy. So those are some of the bigger things. And then there's other niceties that, from a seller's point of view, will make them look. So number 5 would be a mortgage well underway with the buyer, that they've put in all their information, given them the tax returns, they've pulled the credit. That goes a long way. Pre-qual or pre-approval and proof of funds presented up front with the offer. To me, it's just crazy that has not been a standard of practice here. Giving proof of funds with the offer, to me, seems like that's what you should always do. But yet most offers will provide proof of funds a week later. It's like, if you're competing and I was a seller, I would want to see the proof of funds right now to make up my decision, one versus the other. Well, these people have proof and these people aren't going to give me proof for another week. kind of a no-brainer there. Number 7, short closings, 14, 21, 30 days is kind of the norm for that, instead of the mortgage, which is usually 30, 45, 60 days. Number 8, strictly as is, no buyer concessions, no fixed list, no credits. That's pretty big. A lot of contracts do a non-contractual ultimatum and say that we want a half a dozen things fixed. And if you don't fix it, we want a credit, or we don't want to buy it. So the new way now for buyers is just say, we'll get our home inspection, but we won't ask for anything. We'll just take it as is, strictly as is, no repairs. Number 9, earnest money becoming non-refundable after the home inspection. This is a new change, and I'm starting to see it more frequently, but maybe they'll leave $1,000 on the table if they don't continue with the contract. That's pretty big. Number 10, buyer opting out of a lot of items that the seller would have to pay for. So items like survey, termite, cleaning, junk removal, inspections, or the buyer will have these things, but they'll be done at buyer expense instead of seller expense. So, like they'll pay for the termite inspection, they'll pay for the survey, they'll pay for the condo docs or the association documentation. So, okay, so there's a list of 10 things a buyer might be doing these days in this seller's market. So how would a seller now pick and why? So number 1 here, the highest offer is not necessarily the best offer. In fact, you might want to pick something that's lower because you believe that it will get to the finish line. And that's the goal here anyway, is to get to the finish line. Which way, which contract, which buyer is going to get you no hassles and do what they promise and make it to the finish line. So how do you do that? Full price or better. Again, it's not necessarily the highest. Offering to pay more money, well, that's attractive. You might want to go through that and see if they'll pay more money. You certainly would like the appraisal clause saying they'll put more cash down. All cash, well, I would probably pick an all cash versus a mortgage. That's kind of a no-brainer. No appraisal issues, and usually they close quicker. Mortgage underway, well, if one person hasn't started their mortgage and one has, well, I think I would probably go for the people that have started their mortgage. The mortgage officer would probably say that they are going to make it because they'll have more data to make a better decision. Pre-qual, pre-approval, proof of funds. Yeah, if they had all that versus someone who didn't, I'd probably go with those people because they have a better presentation and what their abilities are. Short closing, sooner is always better. And if you're a seller and you have to box things faster and hire people to help you move out, it's still a better idea. Before something happens, a COVID something happens, a 9/11 happens, it's always better to close quicker. Strictly as is, absolutely. If you don't have to be nickel and dimed with those non-contractual things that buyers ask for, then that's a good one to pick. Earnest money becoming non-refundable, no-brainer, absolutely. They're doing what they're promised and they're putting their money on the line. That's a good one to go for. Buyer opting out of paying for this and that in the contract, sure, from a seller's point of view, those are always good things to not have to pay for if the buyer is willing to do so. They're negotiating it to their cost. That's fine from a seller's point of view. Again, you need to look at the profiles of each buyer. What are they, a first-time buyer? Are they an investor? Are they, made many purchases in their lifetime? They know what they're doing. First-time buyer might get cold feet, have fear. Someone who's bought 10 homes, it's easy at that point, and they know what they're doing better than another. So those are all sorts of things you want to look at. Their job, what type of job. In this past year, if you were a restaurant worker, you might not be the best buyer out there. Although I just heard of a loan type that will lend with 25% down to buyers that do not have a job. Not quite the ninja loan of the past, but if you have equity that you can show that would be going to pay your mortgage payment until you can get on your feet and get your job going again. They have a loan for that already, so pretty good. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. 10 different things that I see buyers doing, and a little bit on how sellers would evaluate those things in an offer in a competitive situation. All right, hope that was interesting for you. And if you have any Ask Doug questions, love to hear from them. And I've been answering several of these have been from the audience, so love to hear from you too. Okay, have a great week, and talk to you soon.